The real reason Trump will invade Greenland. What if the most dangerous geopolitical move of this century doesn't begin with bombs, but with ice melting silently in the Arctic? What if the next world conflict isn't about ideology or oil, but about who controls the future of global power? And what if Greenland, an isolated, frozen land most people barely think about, is secretly the most valuable territory on Earth? This isn't speculation. This is strategy. And once you understand the full picture, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Donald Trump's interest in Greenland was never a joke. It was a warning. When Trump publicly suggested buying Greenland in 2019, the world didn't just react with surprise, it burst into laughter. Major media outlets mocked the idea non-stop, framing it as proof that Trump had finally crossed into political absurdity. Headlines around the world treated the proposal like a punchline rather than a policy. Denmark's prime minister openly dismissed it as absurd, making it clear that, in her view, it wasn't even worth serious discussion. Late-night television hosts seized the moment, turning the idea into weeks of jokes, skits, and viral ridicule. For the general public, the verdict came quickly and harshly. This was just another impulsive Trump moment, a random headline-grabbing stunt meant to distract, provoke, or amuse, nothing more than a bizarre footnote in an already unconventional presidency. But history has a pattern. The ideas that get laughed at first are often the ones that reshape the world later. Trump wasn't thinking emotionally. He was thinking geographically, economically, and militarily. And Greenland sits at the intersection of all three. Start with location. Greenland is not just a massive island, it is a strategic choke point between North America, Europe, and the Arctic Ocean. Any aircraft, missile system, or satellite traveling the shortest path between the US, Russia, and Europe passes directly over or near Greenland. This is why the US has maintained military assets there for decades. Thule Air Base isn't symbolic, it's essential. It acts as an early warning system against missile attacks and provides unmatched Arctic surveillance. Trump understood something most voters didn't: whoever controls Greenland controls the northern gateway to the world. And as the Arctic ice melts, that gateway is opening faster than anyone predicted. Now, the Arctic itself is transforming. New shipping lanes are emerging, routes that can cut weeks off global trade between Asia, Europe, and North America. These passages are faster, cheaper, and strategically invaluable. Right now, those routes are contested. Russia has militarized the Arctic aggressively, reopening Cold War bases, deploying nuclear submarines, and installing advanced missile systems along its northern coast. China, despite not being an Arctic nation, has declared itself a near-Arctic state and poured billions into polar infrastructure and research. Greenland sits right in the middle of this power struggle. Trump saw the direction of history early. The Arctic will be the next battlefield, not with soldiers, but with leverage. Then come the resources. Under Greenland's ice lies a vast treasure chest the modern world increasingly depends on, a reserve so valuable it could reshape global power balances. Buried beneath the frozen surface are rare earth minerals, uranium, oil, natural gas, iron ore, and other critical materials that fuel the modern economy. These are not abstract resources, they are the backbone of today's most advanced technologies. Smartphones rely on them. Electric vehicles cannot function without them. Artificial intelligence systems, data centers, and advanced chips are built from them. Modern military weapons, missile guidance systems, and defense technologies depend on them for precision and strength. Even renewable energy grids from wind turbines to solar panels require these materials to exist at scale. As global demand explodes and supply chains become more fragile, the value of what lies beneath Greenland's ice is no longer theoretical, it is strategic, urgent, and worth trillions. Today, China controls most of the global rare earth supply. Trump viewed that as an unacceptable vulnerability. His trade war with China wasn't just about tariffs, it was about breaking strategic dependence. Greenland offered a solution. As ice retreats, mining becomes realistic. Infrastructure becomes possible. What once seemed inaccessible becomes priceless. To Trump, Greenland wasn't frozen, it was locked. And climate change was the key. This brings us to the most misunderstood part of Trump's thinking: climate reality versus climate politics. While Trump publicly dismissed climate change rhetoric, his administration clearly acknowledged its strategic consequences. Melting ice changes borders, changes trade routes, shifts military balance, creates new winners and losers. Trump didn't talk about climate morality. He talked about advantage. Greenland's transformation isn't hypothetical, it's happening now. And in Trump's worldview, whoever positions themselves early owns the future. But why would this ever lead to invasion? Because modern invasions don't always look like wars. They look like economic pressure, diplomatic coercion, strategic isolation, militarization under the banner of defense, control of infrastructure, dependence without sovereignty. Greenland is technically part of Denmark, but it has growing independence ambitions. Its economy depends heavily on external support. That makes it vulnerable to investment, to pressure, to influence. Trump knew this. Offer money, build bases, secure ports, expand defensive assets, create dependency. There's also NATO to consider. Denmark is a NATO member, but Greenland's strategic value complicates everything. Any shift in control affects alliance balance, military planning, and global deterrence. Trump's often tense relationship with NATO leaders only added to the uncertainty. To him, alliances are tools, not obligations. If NATO becomes an obstacle, it becomes negotiable. Finally, there's Trump's legacy obsession. Trump doesn't want to be remembered as a conventional president. He wants to be remembered as a disruptor, someone who reshaped the map, the economy, and the balance of power. Acquiring Greenland wouldn't just be symbolic. It would rival the Louisiana Purchase in scale and significance. It would redefine American reach for the next century. To Trump, this wasn't arrogance. It was ambition. So no, this isn't about impulse, ego, or headlines. This is about a frozen land becoming the center of the world. About ice melting faster than diplomacy. About superpowers positioning themselves for a future that's arriving whether we're ready or not. The world laughed when Trump mentioned Greenland. But history doesn't reward laughter. It rewards preparation. And the scariest part isn't whether Trump wanted Greenland. It's how many global powers are now quietly asking the same question, before someone else claims the future hidden beneath the ice. Before you click away, remember this history is never shaped by the moments everyone agrees on, but by the ideas the world laughs at first. Greenland isn't just ice and snow, it's a signal of where global power is moving next. What looks impossible today often becomes inevitable tomorrow, and the decisions being made right now behind closed doors will define the future for decades to come. If this story opened your eyes, challenged what you thought you knew, or made you see geopolitics in a new way, don't stop here. This channel dives deep into the secrets, strategies, and hidden forces shaping our world, stories you won't hear in the headlines. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next breakdown of power, money, and influence. Because understanding the future starts with uncovering the truth today.